The Council of Forest Industry is bullish about the future of forestry. Members say markets are rebounding and new markets are emerging. But the industry is not free of challenges, especially with new competition entering the fold.
Forestry in BC is seeing a resurgence since the bleak years of 2008 and 2009, when the U.S. housing market took a nosedive and Asian markets were non-existent. But those two factors have changed in recent years. The biggest challenge now facing the industry is fibre supply. That supply issue is even more strained, with bioenergy now part of the equation. But the president of the Council of Forest Industry says one doesn't do well without the other.
2x4 dimension lumber is what is always going to make those industries, the industries I've just talked about on the bio side, viable. That is, it has to be based off of a regular sawmilling operation.
However, with the mountain pine beetle epidemic having come and gone, a downturn in the annual allowable cuts is inevitable. And COFI feels the two industries vying for the same fibre have to work together.
We all want a much higher degree of utilization than we're able to achieve out there. But if you try and hit it too hard and too soon, you will actually put people out of business rather than incubating and encouraging a sustainable and integrated, laterally and vertically and horizontally integrated industry, which is where we all want to collectively be.
However, the traditional producer, the Dimension lumber business, says we need to walk before we run. Its biggest concern is that there will be new policy promises and commitments to bioenergy made at the expense of those already in existence.
What we're concerned about is that there are promises made which then take away from those who have already invested in the land base, already invested in equipment, already using these residuals for bioenergy. And so there's always a fear that, people always want to come into an industry, and so people promise the world, but then we can't deliver on it.
Bioenergy is a rapidly growing industry globally. The technology changes quickly, but COFI is not worried about BC's bioenergy industry being left behind.
There's a holy grail out there, and that holy grail out there is moving toward, can we get the technologies that can move the use of these residuals to things like biochemicals and to biomaterials, and ultimately to liquid fuels like ethanol and to bio and renewable diesel.
However, he says at the end of the day, the business of creating 2x4s is what makes those other industries economically viable for the near future. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.